What is up, Ranger fans? My name is Robbie. Welcome back. You're watching Geek Level Asian. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be breaking down Hasbro PulseCon 2021 Day 1, which in the beginning was heavily focused on Power Rangers in the beginning of it. Now, I'd just like to start by saying that I think this is one of the better ones. There were a lot of announcements that went across a bunch of different things, and we're going to go over them today. And there's a few, specifically, that I thought were pretty awesome announcements. Now, before we take a deep dive and actually break it down, if you'd like to support my channel, don't forget to make sure that you like this video and go ahead and subscribe. You can also enter my Hasbro Power Morpher giveaway by going and following me on TikTok. That's all you have to do. You just gotta hit the follow button. That's it. So they did this whole intro thing where they talked about a portal, and it's where all of the different IPs basically meet in the middle. After you get past that, they went into an interview with the Dino Fury cast, and they mentioned a few interesting things. They went into the regular topics, you know, like what was it like to be in New Zealand and living together, which I do like to learn about that stuff. I always like behind-the-scenes stuff. They went through a blooper reel, which I really liked. What was super interesting about this is that Simon Bennett joined this Hasbro PulseCon. It's the first time he ever has, and he honestly had a lot of really cool things to say that I was more interested in. One of those things being bringing Lord Zedd back. If you haven't noticed in the new episodes that were just released on Netflix, you know, Zedd comes back and he looks brolic, bro. He is swole. What I liked about this is that Simon Bennett talks about how when they redesigned the costume, they wanted to make him more physical. So not only, I'm sure, mechanically, and the materials that they use were probably better for actually doing action scenes. I don't know if this was a conscious choice, but he looked tougher. And the whole storyline behind it is, you know, they got him at his most evil time period. Maybe that was when he was doing a lot more push-ups. I don't know. But it was an intelligent way, and he talks about this as well, to get around the whole, well, what about, you know, when in Power Rangers in Space, when they basically sacrifice Zordon, when he turns into a human and he turns good, like, what about that? They got around that little plot device that we've inserted into the timeline. When things don't make sense, the secret ingredient, time travel. Now, they asked Simon Bennett what could we expect from the next season of Dino Fury, and one of the things that he mentioned that I thought was super interesting was that we are going to see relationships develop, and he didn't go into what that actually meant, but I am calling it right now. It's gonna be Ollie and Amelia. I could be wrong, but they've been kind of toying with us since the first episode. It's been referenced in the show when they go visit that, I think she's a palm reader or a fortune teller. They pretend that they're a couple. Like, I just think that that's gonna happen. Izzy's off the table. She's dating Fern. They haven't really, have they given a love interest for Javi? I don't think that they have. Maybe they're gonna introduce a love interest for Javi. I don't know. Maybe Javi starts dating Jane. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I really do think it's gonna be Ollie and Amelia. And I would like that too, because they're opposites, and opposites do attract. Do they last? That's a different story, but they do attract. Oh, yes, I almost forgot. They also revealed some footage of the Dino Fury cycle. This one looks pretty cool. It almost looks, I keep calling him Tiramigo from Real Soldier, but the T-Rex Champion Zord, it's got like that like head or face on the front. Neat. I'm not really into Legacy Wars. I haven't played it in a really long time. Izzy, the green Dino Fury Ranger, is going to be joining the Rangers in Legacy Wars. So if you like that game, she's now going to be available, which is pretty cool. So now here's where you might be surprised about something that I thought was neat, and I might get one or two of them. In knowing me, you would think I don't like these, but those are the 7-inch retro Megazords. What I do like about them is that there's a few things. One, I do like the packaging, and I like the little VHS thing that comes out. Why? That did hit me in my nostalgic heart. But I also really like, and they mentioned this in the video, how these Megazords are made to articulate in a way that celebrates the suit actor in the suit. So it's not made to be a Zord where a bunch of things come together and then it literally has like very, very limited range of I'm doing like a C-3PO. But it's supposed to look like the actual person that's inside of that suit so that you can make it pose in awesome poses. And normally I wouldn't go for this size Megazord, but I realized that even on my shelves, I don't have a ton of space, A, and B, I don't want all of that shelf space to be taken up by gigantic Megazords that literally just stand there, you know, that can't do anything. So I thought it would be cool, like, what if you had a bunch of smaller ones that you can fit on a shelf, that you can pose in really cool ways. Now, this next one was the first picture in my most recent Instagram post about Hasbro PulseCon, and I was super impressed with the Lord Zedd. I guess you would call it a head, because it's not a helmet. This wearable Lord Zedd head that has a voice-changing device where it's supposed to make you sound like Zedd, but it actually makes you sound a little bit more like Zordon. Watch the video, you'll hear what I mean. But man, the detail on it is great. I like how the brain on top is soft, nice touch. The muscles and everything, it all looks like it's painted really well. His eyepiece and everything, and his little, like, you know, his, like, antenna Z thing, it's chrome, which looks really cool. In regard to wearables, that is definitely, I think, the best thing that they have created, Hasbro, in regard to everything that they've made since they've taken over. So now that brings me to the Lightning Collection, and you guys know I'm not really a fan of the Lightning Collection. There's some cool things in here. I do have a few things to say. Don't get angry, it's okay. And this actually goes back to the interview. In the interview in the beginning, when they interview the cast, Russell Curry unveils that he now has his own Lightning Collection Red Dino Fury toy. The Lightning Collection Red Dino Fury Ranger action figure. And in all honesty, it doesn't look bad. The portrait looks pretty good. I think it looks enough like him, like it's passable. The Chroma Fury Saber, I wish all the Lightning Collection weapons had more detail on it, but at least, hey, at least a little dinosaur head on it is gold, and the blade is a different color. They're not great, but it could be worse. Finally have the Zeo, the blue Zeo Tonfas, and they come with the, you guessed it, a single packaged cog. I knew that was gonna happen. So for the army builders out there, you can get a cog, and you can get the blue Zeo Tonfas with it. What's interesting about the paint job on these, I can't really tell. You don't really know until you're holding it in your hands. They look like a different silvery or gray type of either color or paint, or maybe they're even translucent, but what I do like about these is that they look better than the putties. The putties themselves, I thought those looked really weird. They're a very light gray. I think they should be darker or even more of a silvery color. The cogs are a little closer to what I think the putties should be either painted as or made out of. We got a Wild Force Lunar Wolf, and I believe this is the first Wild Force Ranger that we got. I'm not a huge Wild Force fan, not as familiar with the character, but I do know what the actor looks like. Out of all of the ones that were released in this con, in this Hasbro PulseCon, his portrait probably looks the worst. He looks a little Cro-Magnon man-ish. I know that, like, that's what his hair and, like, his, like, kind of features look like if you were describing it to me. But the one that I actually really liked, and I feel kind of 50-50 about, is the pink Dino Charge Ranger. I feel 50-50 about it for this reason. I think the portrait looks good. I think she looks good. I think the figure looks as good as the other Dino Charge Rangers. But what bothers me is that in the package and in the pictures that I've seen, there's no sword. You would think that Hasbro would have learned by now with the entire Tonfa situation, but the red, black, and green Dino Charge action figures come with their swords, but no personal weapon. This one comes with the personal weapon, her Tricera drill, but no sword. What? Now, moving on from the figures themselves, let's talk about the packaging. Walmart is going to have exclusive Walmart packaging, and they called it the dark variant. I mean, it's just like, you know, instead of the Spectrum, what they called it, the Spectrum series, I think, those like darker packages, we got a new package, and if you're into like that like poppy Japanese look, there's some writing on the I mean, listen, it's the same toy. If you're a completionist, this is for you. I don't know a lot of people who would get both. But the last interesting thing that I'll mention about the Lightning Collection action figures themselves is the extension or the evolution of this line of toys, which is called Lightning Collection Deluxe. So when King Sphinx came out and Pumpkin Rapper, when people started getting those, some people were complaining about the scale. I think the monsters should be a little bigger than the Rangers because in the show they usually are, so I'm okay with that. But we're getting a Pirantis Head. He looks good. He's got his little fishy nunchuck fluty thing. He's got some good blast effects. Cool with that. They showed a scale difference between Pirantis Head and the red Dino Fury Lightning Collection action figure. The scale might be a little too much now, I'm just gonna be honest. Pirantis Head looks gigantic. Now, the other deluxe thing that they mentioned that has already caused an uproar, I see a lot of people complaining about it, which is the Power Rangers in Space Blue that comes with his Galaxy Glider. So 2 things I want to say about this. Number 1, the Galaxy Glider, like, I'll call it the Mega Ranger logo, the thing that looks like a triangle, or I think it's mostly supposed to be an M for Mega Ranger, is not correct on the images that we saw. There's like an X there, which I thought was really interesting. But aside from the details, and it's more about the release itself, it is a little haphazard and weird because you keep, I mean Hasbro, you keep putting out toys that we have already that come with different things, so then we have to get a double. Because we've done this a few times now, I believe with the Dino Fury Rangers, where, you know, we got a few, not Lightning Collection, but we got a few Dino Fury Rangers, and if you wanted the rest, you had to get the full pack. What about the people who already bought the individuals? There is another action figure, and I totally forgot this one, and I don't know why, because he is one of my favorite villains, and that's Pudgy Pig. Now, is Pudgy Pig part of the Deluxe series? I don't know, I guess. And he comes with some food items. His mouth opens and closes. You could put the food items in his mouth. He comes with his little, well, not little, but his big forks and knives. So now moving on, let's talk about the Megazord Ascension project, or line of Megazords that are coming out. And this I'm actually super excited about, because Hasbro, when Hasbro took over Power Rangers, it seemed like a match made in heaven, let's just say, because they've had Transformers for so long. They're a very well-known toy brand. We thought, oh, the Zords are going to be incredible. And when it came out, we were kind of confused by the lack of Zords or the Zords that we were getting. So I think it's awesome, and the marketing team talked about this a little bit, that, you know, they're all fans of, like, you know, giant robots, and this was the project that they wanted to announce. So I thought that this was pretty cool. So the Megazord Ascension project is, I'm going to equate it to, like, you know, maybe not the same quality or build, but the love that goes into a Soul of Chogokin. The love that went into the Legacy Megazord line. It's their own spin on it. I'm not saying it's the same, but where I'm comparing it is they're paying attention to not only the ability to combine the Zords, but they're also paying attention to articulation. And that is something that's super important for someone like me who doesn't, again, just want a boxy, robotic robot mecha on their shelf. And looking at the details on this Megazord, they did take some liberties. I'm gonna be honest. They did a few things on it that I didn't love, but there's a few things that, like, I'm okay with, that you, like, altered this a bit. The thing that, like, sticks out to me the most that I'm not a huge fan of is the pterodactyl chest plate. I get the idea of it, but it kind of stands out. It's more like, I don't think it's a bad idea, I just think it stands out too much, and it's like what I see more than the rest of the robot. I don't know why. But I do like the whole thing overall, and they did some really cool things with it. Like, for instance, if you take the face off pretty much of the Megazord, you could see the Rangers inside. That's pretty cool for 2 reasons. 1, it's just a cool feature. 2, it confirms that the Rangers sit inside the head. The Rangers are not in the chest piece. Just saying. Super 7, take note. The other thing is they give you, like, little, you know, they're simple, but they give you little Rangers to go on the bottom of it if you want to create, like, a little cool scene on your shelf. I like that. I thought that was a really cool idea. So again, not only can you pose all of these Zords separately, like other releases in the past, you can also pose it in a way that has articulation, and you can make it look like it's actually a fighting robot than just a block. I like how the sword has the gold on it. I like how they provide different emoting hands, ones that are like fists and then ones that are more open. Thought that was cool. Now, there's 2 more things that I want to talk about. I'm going to quickly go over the next one. They speak to Ryan Parrott, I believe his name is, who is the writer of what's going on right now in the Boom Studios comics. I haven't read them in a really long time, but I do know that they're going into, like, Zordon and Lord Zedd's past. You learn more about the relationship between Lord Zedd and Zordon and how they know each other, which is pretty interesting. So now, the last thing that they announced was something that was a very interesting pivot, I guess, from a business standpoint, which is releasing an NFT. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with what an NFT is, you could look it up online, but I'm going to simplify it for you. An NFT can really be many, many different things, but in many cases it comes in the form of literally like just a digital image or a GIF or a little animation. And there's an NFT of this Megazord, which are just literally just images of this black and gold version of the Megazord Ascension, Megazord that I was just talking about. Now, what is cool, since they're a toy company, and what they're doing is if you buy the NFT, you can then use that token to redeem the black and gold physical version of this toy. And it's like $200. I've never purchased an NFT. I have no desire to own a Megazord black and gold NFT. I would like the toy, but I'm not going to spend $200 on that. So that is my breakdown of Hasbro PulseCon 2021. We went over a bunch of things, but again, the things that I liked were those retro Megazords, and I want to get, I don't know if I will get, but I want to get the regular Mighty Morphin Megazord. I would also like to get the Thunder Megazord. I want the Lord Zedd head, but in reality, it would probably just sit on my I would never wear it. And if and when the time comes, I'm feeling like I really want it, I might get that Megazord Ascension line, you know, Mighty Morphin Megazord. So thank you for coming back and watching, everybody. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep up with Power Rangers information and news and Super Sentai and Kamen Rider sometimes. I am most active on Instagram and TikTok now. I'm probably just gonna delete my Snapchat, to be honest. Snapchat is just lame. And that's it, everybody. May the power protect you.